And do a quick height adjustment on these Truhart coilovers. It's a really pretty easy job. Tape measure, number 5 metric torque wrench. Of course, the 2 wrenches that came with the coilovers, hammer, screwdriver. And take the screwdriver, put it in one of these slots, hit it with a hammer a couple times, break it loose. Get it to turn like that. Wind it up just a little bit, give you some room. Take your number 5 torque wrench, or I'm sorry, Torx head wrench, whatever, Allen wrench. Loosen this tightening adjustment screw right here, just so that the tie rod end holder will spin. Then you're going to take the large coil wrench you got, of course, grab it right here and turn it. You're going to turn the whole thing, so like the entire coil, everything is going to spin. And what that's doing is screwing this into here and actually bringing the height of it up, so you're adjusting the actual height of the car. You're not adjusting preload or anything like that. So what you want to do before you get started is put your tape measure against your like straight against your fender, kind of line it up with your coilover so it gives you a point of reference. Come down here and get you a measurement. Looking at, like, I started at 14.5 plus or minus 14.5 inches. Looking more like about 7/16 now, or 8/3, I don't know, whatever. Just over half, 14.5. So this gives you a point of reference. So when you start screwing this in a little bit, bringing your ride down, you can go back and measure it again. And I'll tell you how much you moved. Then when you're done, you have a good solid measurement that you like. On this side, you go around to the other side of the vehicle and do the same thing. Start out by measuring from the top of your fender well down to like the center nut. I go there because it gives me a good point of reference every time, no matter what. That point's going to stay where it's at, so when you're raising or lowering it, it's going to be the same spot. So I'll lower it a little bit more. I don't want to lower it too much because I start having trouble getting over speed bumps and stuff. Kind of a pain in the ass. But that's it, pretty much. Only need a couple of tools. Takes a few minutes. You can lower it, raise it, whatever you want to do. You raise it, you just spin it the other way, and it'll unscrew from here and start lowering the hub, so you get a higher ride height. But again, that doesn't change your preload. Your preload is here. You would loosen this one and then tighten this one. It'll compress the spring a little bit more. It'll give you more of a bumpy, more of a stiffer ride. So again, you just loosen this nut, loosen this so it spins, and then start turning this coil over on this collar to lower it or raise it. And that's pretty much it. So I got a height that I like. Just measured down to here. I'm gonna match that on the other side of the car. So what you do when you're done is make sure your tie rod end is relatively straight up and down. You don't want it, twisted too much. It puts a lot of stress here and here. You end up blowing these out. But it should be tucked around, kind of behind the coilover, not way out here, because you could risk hitting it with your rim or your tire, and your rim will start cutting this. You don't want to get into that. Anyway, once you have it where you want it, take your number 5 Allen wrench there, stick it in there, tighten that up just so it doesn't move anymore, because you don't want it to move when you're turning the vehicle. You want it to do kind of like that as you're turning the vehicle. Alright, so now that that's tight, come back down here, tighten this collar all the way down to here, and use your wrench to tighten it down. They'll give you a small wrench that'll fit this one and that one. Use that to snug it, and then take your screwdriver, flathead screwdriver in one of those slots like that, tap it with a hammer a couple times. Don't over tighten it, because you'll start messing up these threads, and then you won't be able to do your height adjustments anymore. Just give it a couple of quick taps so it seats, because if this comes out every time you start turning the car, if this is loose, whenever you turn the car, you're going to turn the coil over and you're going to be raising and lowering your ride height as you're turning the car, and that's a no bueno. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to go to the other side of the car and do the same thing, but that's it. Height adjustment on Truhart coilovers.